What's going on, everybody? C4 here. Welcome back to the channel. Today, October 12th, we have a brand new title update for franchise mode. And in this title update, it is the much anticipated, often postponed scouting update to franchise mode. Now, I could have gone ahead, behind the scenes, ran through this myself to kind of get an idea of it and then explain it to you. I feel like it might be more beneficial just to do it live. Let's see, what are the pros and cons, initial reactions. There's the only way to get a true initial reaction is for me just to go through it, and we'll just see. We'll answer hopefully some questions. Is it where it needs to be? Is it too easy? Is it too hard? Does it work with custom draft classes? And then once we kind of get a good preview here of the scouting and my opinion on it, I do need to kind of close this video out with the discussions about Madden 22 main channel franchise. So let's see, this is the very first thing when you load into your brand new franchise. Right now, literally, this is fresh off the press. This just finished downloading, and I can't load into online franchises. Servers are down, so I was able to hop in offline where things are working. You have to hire and assign your scouts. So they want me to scan a video there. Don't really want to do that. So we're going to go to scouts here, scout info. These are the guys that we can hire. We have Vince Anderson, positional expertise. Current scouts on the team. We have free. Okay, no, these are my current scouts. Okay. I'm just the Dolphins, just cuz. Free agent scouts. Tiki Barber. Okay, so we're going to have some pretty funny retired players. TJ Hushmanzada, Sean Alexander, Rodney Harrison, Richard Seymour. Meg Wilson. Let's go with that. Derek Johnson. Chris. Okay, I'll tell you right now. We're going to go Chris Long. So what's the hiring process? You literally just hit Y and confirm you want to hire. Okay, so we have too many scouts on the roster. So here's how we fire a scout. Let's be honest. I don't need two guys that are good at scouting tackles. Even though, for the sake of this franchise just being the Dolphins, they might want to do that. Their O-line's not great. But I'm thinking, just as a Philadelphia Eagle fan, I'm seeing, obviously, so I always think that was something pretty cool back in the day when they would have retired players become options to become a part of your assistant coaching staff as an OC or DC. Like anytime I'd be the Eagles, Brian Dawkins would retire, I would make sure I'd go to my way to bring him back. I think that whatever this is, this mechanic needs to just copy and paste it. Literally, that'd be the easiest way into your coordinators, because I want to be able to play and, make my franchises unable. Each scout is tier 1 to 3. Placing a scout, you must replace with one from the same tier. Come on, C4, get it together. So we got to get rid of Michelle Scott, which actually, from the positional standpoint, same spots that we would have for Chris Long. Got a little less diverse in our scouting room, but that's fine for the sake of this video. All right, so hire a scout. If you're paying attention, don't make the same mistakes as me. You too can land in the preseason Chris Long. Just want to quickly say this because as I go through it, it might make a little bit more sense. But right now, while you're doing your scouting, they ask you have to assign your scout. You can say hit A to assign your scout. And it's just a shot in the dark right now. I haven't even imported my draft classes. I don't know what region is going to benefit and maximize the expertise of my scouts. Because as of right now, obviously we haven't even loaded in a draft class yet. The region breakdown is still locked. So all I'm going to say is that hopefully it's just like that. That's all it takes to switch regions, because if it's some sort of multi-week, it takes you a week to that's not in FIFA. In FIFA, if you want to change your coach where you have them scouting, it takes 1, 2, 3 weeks to kind of get them, relocate it kind of deal. Hopefully that's not the case here, and it's just an instant region switch. All right, now week 1 starts. You have an option here to choose your draft class. I'm going to import. Let's have a little bit. Let's go 2023, just cause. Not going to have to go in order. So here's currently what we have. As soon as we open it up, we have Bryce Young, Will Anderson, DJU from Clemson, Brian Bresee. I don't know why. Come on, I saved his name. There was a typo I'd save. Every time I do it, I got to go back and edit. The GOAT, Anthony Richardson, Keyshawn Boutte, Darnell Washington. Okay, we got some guys here. Can I do anything yet with these? Probably not. Let's see. When we select Bryce Young, we got already a scouting note on him. Never seen him play a window. He won't throw into beautiful spiral. Very antsy in the pocket. Knows when to throw the ball away. Okay, his physical's going to have to wait. Right now we just have the initial ratings, generic, big picture. Just good, great, elite. Okay. Yeah, it's cool. This is definitely the revamp that scouting needed. What's the next step? All right, so now we have the region breakdown. Now that we have imported our draft class, so the big picture, those are the top 5 players. Young, DJU, Rakeem Jarrett, Malachi Moore, K. So, like, I think the thing that makes this, to kind of get an idea of how it works, is like, I know these draft class, I know these player ratings, and okay, I know that that's not factual. So that's kind of like, okay, so when you're using generic draft classes, or if you're using a custom draft class that you've never used before, I like that it's already mixed. It's not literally the top 5 players right out the gate, and it's not always going to be giving you, like, look at Rakeem Jarrett. Right now he's projected rank 4. I know for a fact he's probably 5th or 6th best wide receiver in the class. So that is something just to keep an eye on there. And then we have the West. Okay. Feel like that's already top crossback Riley Sharp. Don't know who that is off the top of my head. Put him in the class, though. So, you know, that's false. We look at the Central here. So you get the Big 12. You get the Northeast, which is Big 10. You got the Southeast, which is the SEC. That actually looks kind of on part. And obviously some ACC there with Clemson also being included. So that's okay, you know. Now, this is when, obviously, you would modify and send your scouts to certain positions. Like we have Chris Long, who we just brought in, whose specialty is defensive ends. And when you look here at the Northeast, defensive end is not particularly strong. I do like how this is all broken down into regions in this menu. So you can kind of, like, you know, I think they could have very easily just not done this, and you would have just had the base. You gotta look at all the players. The fact that they've been able to break it down here in the drop-down menu is pretty damn cool. So now we just randomly shot in the dark, sent Chris Long to the Northeast, and then once we imported our draft class, Northeast had bad defensive end. So how hard is it to reassign him? So we want to send him, well, okay, I'm already telling you right now, there needs to be something in this menu that will kind of give you the strength and weaknesses of each. Like whatever that thing is that showed you here in the region breakdown, the strengths and weaknesses of every single region, that should just be copy and pasted into this scout menu. So I could just see right away that the Southeast, because now I'm going to have to go back and forth. I already forgot it. But, you know what I'm saying? I feel like there's room there to improve on the scouting assignments once you figure out the different regions. But other than that, I mean, I'm still pretty impressed with it. Okay, so now you click the prompt. I'm not going to go back because it took me too long to get to this menu. To scout your players. And we're just going to focus for just this little quick run through, just with Chris Long. So I moved and relocated his scouting to the Central region because the strengths there are right defensive end, and those are one of the 2 spots that he has an efficiency boost while scouting. So now we go to scouting focus, and clearly we should just make it right defensive end, I suppose, right? We got Jalen Redmond, Trajan Jeffcoat from Missouri, I think, right? So now he's scouting there. We might as well do it for all these ones. So we have this guy who's quarterback, sure. Might as well just put all of our boosts here. Because this is just what it prompted and told me to do. Okay, it told me to do this week. So that's what I'm doing here this week. Vince Anderson. Okay, this is already terrible because I'm not lining it up with the strengths and weaknesses. But let's just keep on keeping on here. So week 2, you kind of select what positions you want to work with your scouts. Week 3, it gives you your first mock draft. Mock draft, a numero uno. You got Bryce Young, DJU, Will Anderson, Breezy, Boutte, Richardson, Philly getting Darnell Washington. Okay, what are we projected at? It's the Dolphins here. Way down there getting Tank Bigsby. Very good running back. Okay. And I assume at later stages we will have, you know, upwards of 5 mock drafts. That is going to change throughout the season as we gather more information on the prospects and more teams, get more interested in specific players. All right, we're here now live, mock draft number 2. I'm not going to go through every single mock draft, but now that we are, you know, kind of dust is settling, the Dolphins have their top 5 pick. They're kind of booty, and we're projected to get Kayshon Boutte from LSU, who's going to be just another great LSU wide receiver going into the league. I kind of like, if this is like now what the going through the motions is of scouting in franchise mode as compared to what we had previously, where you just hit X 3 times, I will say overall, this is absolutely the direction we should be going. I think that having the scouting reports, having the more drawn-out approach, having the decisions to be made about where you're sending the scouts, being able to, not being able to, because you can, but I want to say necessarily rewarding people that are really trying to maximize your scouting, not just people that set and forget their scouts to certain regions. You know, it should be one of those things that every single week you're looking at it, and if you're not getting the information, not finding the players that you want, as long as you're on top of keeps, you know, switching where your scout's going, so you keep getting and trying to find the best players versus just being like, oh, every single year I just set my scouts, I sim to the end of the season. I think you're really going to find the benefit in this brand new scouting mechanism. And absolutely right now, very impressed, and I like the direction it's going, and pretty much anything was better than just hitting X 3 times and being able to pretty much scout the entire draft right away. I will make the argument this, though. This is fairly tedious. There is a lot to do. This is going to be something that's 100% for the people in your multi-user leagues. You know, one game a week. If you're doing like obviously it's kind of niche, I'm speaking as a YouTuber, but like for a main channel franchise where you go 1-2 weeks the most per video, this is going to be awesome. For rebuilds, where you want to try to rebuild a team as quickly as possible, you want to try to do and cram 5 years into one video, or for any just regular people out there, one day, you just want to, on a weekend, you want to rebuild some team. Might not be the most enjoyable, just because there's no real, I don't want to say like quick way. I guess it's just the information is it's an information drip versus being able to get it all at once. And sometimes when you want to condense things, you want to get it all at once. And if you really want to get the most out of this feature, you're gonna have to put in the time, I suppose, is the easiest way to explain it, which is a good thing, but not for everybody, which I think needs to be understood. So now I have simmed an entire regular season, and this is where we're at least in terms of prospects. So my top scout, my overall scout, he has a 10% boost for tight ends. So that would be, you know, tight ends should be the spot that I have the most knowledge on. And we're currently in week 18, so I guess I haven't simmed week 18 yet. And we're still at only 80% completion of scouting the tight ends in this year's draft class. So that just kind of gives you a little bit of context about like how quickly can you scout 100% a player and move on to another position of groups. This is over a whole season and I'm still not at 100%. So again, kind of at least like reaffirms the fact that you're not going to go into every single draft pretty much knowing what every player is going to be. It is going to be a risk reward versus what positions you truly want to go out and target versus trying to just have everything. You're not going to be able to get everything anymore. And I think, again, that is definitely a step in the right direction. All right, so now that we're in the off season, next thing that you get outside of just getting mock drafts, we have combine results. Okay, so what do we got here? Let's see for, obviously we ended up making the playoffs, so let's not necessarily go right at the top, and let's find the best. Give me like this one, Paris Johnson. That is the last player we were mock draft. Now that we have the combine grades, let's see what we look here. We got the bench press at 35, fourth, which is pretty good. That's another thing that will be interesting to find out as well. There has still tend to be tendencies from combine performances. Like you always want players with the good shuttles, good broad, good 40, high bench, like stuff like that, that always kind of not proven method, but there's always, easiest way to explain it is that there's always been certain tells based off of the combine and their performances if they were going to be a good player or not. I wonder if they kind of tweaked that under the hood just a little bit. But yeah, now all the players at the combine. I will say one thing that is helpful, I will say, with this much of a change coming to scouting is that every time something new happens that you need to kind of interact with or that you should be paying attention to, it pops up there in the activity, so it's not like it's going on in the background, and if you're not actively seeking it out, you'll be missing on it. It's kind of right in your face, almost impossible to miss. So then week 2 of the offseason, you now get an opportunity to look at the Pro Day results on top of the combine. So let's take a look here. Just because we have the most scouted and most information, I'm looking at Darnell Washington, the freak of nature tight end from Georgia, and something that, okay, so he didn't attend the combine, but he did go to his pro day. I think that's a nice little bit of immersion. That happens all the time in real life. Guys don't attend the combine, they go to the pro day, usually put up better numbers at their pro day. I wish that was represented here a little bit. Like I would love a scenario where at the combine they run a 4.7, but then at the pro day they run a 4.55 or something outrageous like that. Like just throw a little bit of bait out there. You know, because so many people like to take pot shots at some of the fraudulent numbers that they get at college pro days. It'd be kind of funny if that was immersive in here. But, I mean, again, you don't really want to bait people with false information, especially if they're not as, you know, in on the scouting community that they know, you know, people that will look at a pro day performance be like, wow, he just really put in the work and he must be faster or had a bad comp. I mean, there's a whole lot of elements that can be maybe RNG'd behind the scenes of like maybe they just had a bad combine. The pro day is like make it so can we trust the pro day? Make me ask that question. I think that's ultimately what I'm trying to get at here is that if you have, let's see if we have someone that actually went to the combine, went to the pro day, and we can see the difference in their performances. We'll look at Jalen Redmond here from Oklahoma. So he did, come on, but the menu's still a little laggy. So we have the combine and the pro day, pretty similar. I mean, if you're looking at that, there's nothing too egregious, nothing that stands out. But if there was a way that like you did see a discrepancy, like I said, 4.69 and have a 4.59, like have that be the RNG of like what is the true number? What is the true information that I need to use and try to gamble on when I make this selection if I want Jalen Redmond? I think that would be pretty damn cool. Last thing you can do is your private workouts. So let's see what this menu looks like. I've never seen this before. So knowing what we know, pick 3 players for a private workout. So I guess the question is, would this be something that would be more beneficial to grab if the guys that you have all your scouting, like I have 80% on Washington, I kind of know what I'm getting there. If I want it Miles Murphy, I need a defensive end, obviously out of our range. I want to see just how much of, let's pick both of them. How much of this completion of scouting do we get from a private workout? Will it automatically give us 100? There's probably already something that broke that down. I just wasn't paying attention to it. But then I think this is going to be fair for an example. We have 40, 80, and 65. So the 3 different variances and variables of your completed scouting. Am I going to get 100% on all 3 of these dudes? Or will I not? So now, okay, so it just took me here. Did it happen yet? Like, is there something in here like physical? Nope, pro day. Okay, so where's this private workout? Where am I getting anything here from the private workout? I don't see any more information yet. Maybe I need a sim a week? I just locked them in? Or is it in here? Is there information in here? So this is why I want to do it live, because I guarantee people that are doing this for the very first time will be very similar shoes. I mean, like, where's the information here? So do we have, like, let's go, let's advance a week. I assume there'll be something that pops up. We have mock draft number 5 and maybe private workout results. Maybe we'll have more information, at least as like the scouting report, maybe. Mock draft 5. Okay, that's not exactly what we want, but we go here. Like, did the knowledge and information gained on these players go up any? And I'm not... Oh, there we go. Yeah, all right. So we went up about 40 points. We went from 40 to 80 on Miles Murphy. We got 100% completion here for Darnell Washington and 100% completion for Jalen Redmond. Okay, so there you go. When you get your private workout, you have to sim to the next week, and you don't really get any prompts. You just have to go back and look at those 3 players that you had for their private workout. And as we can see here, Darnell Washington is absolutely terrifying. So we're now right before the draft. This is, I mean, I guess you could kind of just look back and see how the prospects have kind of shifted here a little bit. Not really seeing anything too outrageous or egregious. Generally the same 5 players that are kind of in the top 5. And then when you go to the draft, I don't think anything has changed in the draft. I think that's the next thing, you know. Thank you very much for fixing the scouting and giving us something that's much needed in the scouting. Can we now take a look here at the draft? And I feel like the easiest thing to do in the draft to make the draft feel different is have like blockbuster trades and stuff like that. Have teams that are aggressively trying to trade up. And I think that would be like, I mean, presentation. I don't know how much more the presentation can, what more we can add. But at least they got rid of the blinding light that was happening every single time. So that's, I mean, hey, let's make this. This is a guy we scouted 100%. Don't need him by any means. It's just an example. But let's see what we get. So we draft him. Changes a little bit here. Darnell Washington. Doesn't have him flexing anymore. You don't have the guy standing out and flexing on you, which is definitely a change. But yeah, cool. Overview of his skills. We've done our scouting. Key info, what does that say? It's probably going to break down so that a rookie, yeah, there we go. A rookie with 80 coverage actually has an A, even though it doesn't equate to an A as far as the rest of the league is concerned. So, yeah, you know, final review on the scouting is, I think, for me, for someone like me, for most people, it is the extra immersion that we need in scouting. I think I just did an initial run through here, and it was bug-free. I didn't see any issues. The game wasn't crashing, which I think is, given the very cyberpunk-esque start that we had to Madden 22, That's pretty good. Maybe the delay was much needed so they could get it working on time and working properly. So it wouldn't be like, just crashing games and all that stuff. But I will say that the downside is just if you are someone that, I think for like rebuilds, 5-year rebuilds, you want to just quickly go from point A to point B, and there is a big segment of people that like doing that. I don't think you're really going to be a fan of this scouting system, but I think to kind of put a stamp on things is that Madden for the last couple years for franchise mode feels like it's been designed for the casual player that wants to go from point A to point B as quickly as possible, and that's not really what most of the Madden franchise players really want. They want more immersion, more realism, and that's exactly what you're getting with this scouting update. So overall, I think it is very positive. I am very happy that I was able to go through this little example, live reaction, take it as it is, and didn't have my game crash or didn't have any of these bugs that I guarantee a lot of people, even myself included, were kind of expecting. I guess, I'm going to have to make a full review, my full Madden 22 review now, based upon this being out now. That'll probably be coming, I don't know, at some point. Don't know when. At some point. And that kind of leaves us with the final question of the day. And that is, what is going to be our main Madden franchise? Well, the final part, the conclusion of this video, is C4's main Madden 22 franchise. Now, I announced right at the beginning of Madden that the Carolina Panthers were going to be my team. And then the Panthers don't suck in real life. They're also very overpowered in Madden. And they just traded for Stephon Gilmore. And I will say, I have kind of maintained that, I'm doing the Panthers, man. They're still, we saw against Philadelphia. They're maybe not as good as their record indicates this season. But I have had issues. My biggest issue with Carolina is, they've been so good in the sim. You see the Carolina Panthers in the playoffs right away almost every year. So it's different because I will be playing the games. I think that there's an element there. But they're a damn good roster. And I did find more often than not when I talked about using the Carolina Panthers over the last month or so as my main channel franchise, people were like, man, you can't really do Carolina right now. They're too good. So I'm not going to be the one to say that. If you guys end up deciding that they're just too good, we got to look elsewhere, I am very much on board. I made a poll last night. Actually, it was only 10 hours ago, and almost 5,000 votes. And I made that poll without really looking around to seeing what other content creators have made their franchises. And because I am late to the show, obviously I wanted to wait until the scouting update came in, and maybe that's bit me in the ass a little bit. I mean, I've had a blast with Pink Slips. We are, potentially 3 episodes away in Pink Slips from winning our Super Bowl. But, I'm not going to be here to step on any toes. Plus, this year is more than ever, man. You type in Madden 22 on YouTube, there's 5 people getting views. Everyone else is kind of down in the bottom. And I really want to strengthen the community. I'm very much in that bottom section, the haves and the have-nots. I'm in the have-nots. I don't want to step on any toes. If anyone else, up and coming, already established creators, has their own franchises on, I would much rather, if you want me to do that team, I had Falcons, I had the Raiders, people want to see me do those. Well, Param Crow, one of the most underrated Madden YouTubers out there, easily. He's doing a Falcons franchise. So rather me trying to do a second one, doing something out here, 100% just go support him. If you want to see a Falcons franchise on YouTube, go check them out. Same with the Raiders. Jerome PK is doing the Raiders. Go check that out. Support this community. We need it now more than ever, man. So looking at the remaining teams, outside of the Carolina Panthers, teams that I haven't seen really established franchise modes yet that interest me. So I still have Carolina. I think the Bears could be interesting as well. Haven't seen any Bears franchises. They are a big franchise. They are, a big team, big following. My Bears videos tend to do well. But the biggest hang up here with the Bears is they have Justin Fields. Other than that, they have some good players, but most of the good players are a little bit past their prime. Kind of reminds me of the Eagles roster a teeny bit. But the fact that you have Justin Fields, who is a known superstar, who's going to be an absolute beast, absolute animal, I would say that's, I'd have to see an overwhelming support of people to do the Chicago Bears. The rest of these teams, they don't need a rebuild. Bears, we got the Bengals don't need one, Bills don't need one, Broncos don't need one, Browns don't need one, Bucks don't need one, Cardinals don't need one, Chargers don't need one, Chiefs don't need one. Colts, I've seen a couple Colts, but their roster is very good, very stacked. A couple free agency moves have already happened and stuff like that. But ultimately for the Colts, I'm not playing with Carson Wentz. I'm just putting that money. Those wounds haven't healed, not just yet. Sorry, Colt fans, but can't do it. Dallas not happening. I was really thinking about the Dolphins, and I can't remember the dude's name. I should have, because now it seems like I'm big timing him a little bit. But there is already a Dolphins franchise out, and it looks like he's killing it. So I'm not going to be doing the mind. I actually almost thought, I'm doing the Dolphins. and he's already doing it. I'm not stepping any toes. Go check him out. I think it was TNJ is his name. But he's doing a Dolphins franchise, so go check that out. We have the Philadelphia Eagles, which came second place in my poll. Always willing to do the Eagles. I would think that I'd have a lot of fun with the Eagles right now this year because they kind of suck. And I have the only real negative comments about me doing the Eagles from you people are just like, I'm going to be biased. But biased how? I hate the Eagles more than anybody. So from that standpoint, it's interesting. From a rush standpoint, that is the most inflated 81 overall because all the guys that are good are pretty much 30-something and super expensive, and there's going to be a lot of roster management being done. The reason why I'm not going right now in this video and announcing I'm doing the Eagles because I've done the Eagles before. They're not necessarily common, but they're not an uncommon team for me to do franchise content here on YouTube. They do have 3 first-round draft picks, most likely coming up. Is that going to be too cheesy for someone like me? So I'm interested. I'm very much willing to just say, screw it, man. Let's do the Eagles, man. They're in a bad spot, and they got a lot of stuff that needs to get figured out. But I'm not going to come out right now and say I'm doing the Eagles 100% because I don't want to do something that people are like, been there, done that. No interest in watching C4 do the Eagles. Falcons were interesting, but Parham Crow's doing the Falcons, so go check him out. No, it's too stacked on defense. Got their quarterback. Giants, again, another team, could be interesting. Kind of like Philadelphia a little bit. Best players are not super young, have questions at quarterback, spend a lot of money, probably don't have a lot of salary cap, do have 2 first-round draft picks, but it's the Giants. I'm just not doing it. The Jacksonville Jaguars, there's already Jags franchises. Every one of their dogs has Jags and Texans franchises, so, while they're fun teams, there's other creators out there. We have the Jets. I will say the Jets were the runner-up originally for deciding what my main channel franchise was going to be. It came down to the Jets and the Panthers, and I decided going with the Panthers because Sam Darnold was a way more interesting quarterback at that time than playing in with Zach Wilson. But I will say the Jets, absolutely, there's no Jets franchise going on. Clearly, they still suck, so they are on the list. We have the Detroit Lions, Bengals doing them right now. We have the Green Bay Packers, who obviously have the last ride, whatever you want to call it right there. They kind of are a little interesting. I don't see any Green Bay Packers franchises. So, I guess I could absolutely throw the Green Bay Packers in the mix here. So, Patriots, nah. Raiders. Jerome P. Carr's doing the Raiders. I was pretty intrigued, like post Chucky, but he's already doing those, so go check him out. Support his series. Rams are good. Ravens are good. Saints are obviously got issues at quarterback, but they're still a really talented roster. Seattle, they didn't have Russell Wilson. I would consider it. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers, another kind of interesting team. Really good defense. Probably a little bit more overpowered, but it's in the same line as the Philadelphia Eagles. If I'm considering the Eagles, absolutely need to consider the Pittsburgh Steelers. Life beyond Ben Roethlisberger. Texans, everyone does the Texans, and we have the Titans who are already good. Same with the Vikings to a degree. I think the Vikings rebuild will be like, hey, as soon as you get your quarterback, replace Kirk Cousins, you're going to be set. So, that's just a lot of talking through it. I think I'm convinced now more than ever, I truly do not have a franchise. It's easy to say, I'll just do the Eagles. I'm an Eagle fan. It's time. They suck. They have the draft capital to really rebuild. Win better than now to rebuild the Eagles versus saying, I want to do the Eagles next year when Howie uses those first 3 draft picks and fucks it up. You know what I'm saying? But I am open. I would say right now, the teams that are on my personal short list are the Carolina Panthers, staying with the Panthers, Chicago Bears. Wow, I wish these menus were quicker. The Philadelphia Eagles, the New York Jets, and then I'm going to have a 2-way tie between either the Green Bay Packers or the Pittsburgh Steelers. So those are the 5 teams that don't have at least to a certain degree, some guy just started a franchise. I'm gonna try to be as respectful. Those are the 5 to 6 teams, while being respectful to try to decide my franchise mode, that I'm gonna open myself up to. So please let me know in the comment section below, of those 5-6 teams, which one would you like to see? I'll probably have another poll go up on the community tab, so also go vote on that. And hopefully tomorrow we'll have a little bit of a teaser video dropping as to what our main Madden 22 franchise is going to be. But that does it for me today, guys. That is the scouting. I'm a fan. No bugs. That's the biggest thing right now. With Cyberpunk Madden 22 here. Pretty good. Happy with it. And let's figure out, man, what our main channel franchise is going to be. I'm ready to go. Absolutely ready to go. I'll see you guys back here tomorrow. Thank you very much for watching. Peace out.